Reed National Military Medical Center was unusually quiet that afternoon when President Donald Trump arrived unannounced. The usual flurry of activity barely had time to ignite. Secret Service agents formed a loose perimeter, but Trump waved away unnecessary ceremony. His eyes moved slowly down the hallway, not scanning for threats, but as if searching for something he couldn't yet name. Room 309. Inside sat Staff Sergeant Nathan Cole, 29 years old, propped against crisp white pillows. The blanket covered what remained of his right leg. An IED blast during an overseas mission had taken part of it, and with it, the career he loved. But it hadn't taken his spirit. A nurse stiffened as the door opened. Nathan instinctively tried to sit straighter, pain flashing across his face. "At ease, soldier," Trump said, holding up a hand. His voice was unexpectedly gentle. Nathan managed a faint smile. "Didn't expect this, sir." Trump pulled a chair beside the bed and sat. "I came to thank you," he said. "Men like you are the reason this country still stands." For a moment, Nathan said nothing. Then he spoke quietly. "Sir, I have a request." "Just one." Trump raised an eyebrow. "Go on." "It's not for me." Trump leaned forward. "All right. There's someone you need to meet," Nathan said. "Someone you probably wouldn't expect." "Who?" Nathan reached into the bedside drawer and pulled out a worn photograph. He handed it over. In the photo stood a young woman, maybe 25, with kind eyes and auburn hair tucked behind her ears. She wore scrubs and a civilian medical badge. "Her name's Ava," Nathan said. "She's the reason I'm alive." Trump studied the image. "She's a field medic," Nathan continued. "Volunteered with our unit through a civilian aid program. Not military, not paid. She just wanted to help." "She saved you?" Trump asked. Nathan nodded. "After the blast, I was unconscious, bleeding out. My unit was pinned down. Nobody could reach me." He swallowed. "Ava ran through open fire, dragged me behind a wall, held pressure on my wound for over an hour." Trump's jaw tightened. "She was it too," Nathan added. "Shrapnel in her shoulder, but she didn't leave. She carried me to the evac helicopter." The room went quiet. "The Army doesn't talk about her," Nathan said. "No records, no medals. She doesn't want attention." Trump looked up. "So what's your request?" Nathan met his eyes. "I want you to meet her. Just talk to her. Hear her story. People like her, they deserve to be seen." Trump didn't answer right away, but something in his expression changed. 2 days later, Nathan's words still echoed. A civilian, no uniform, no obligation, running toward gunfire in the Oval Office. Trump turned to his military liaison. "I want everything you can find on a woman named Ava, civilian medic, served recently in Kibble." "That may be difficult, sir," the liaison said. "Civilians often operate under non-official status." "I don't care," Trump replied. "Find her." By morning, a thin file sat on his desk. Ava Sinclair, 26, raised in rural Wyoming, trauma nurse, brother killed in Afghanistan, joined an international humanitarian group afterward. No awards, no headlines, currently volunteering at a mobile clinic for veterans in Washington, D.C. Trump closed the file. Perfect. The clinic sat behind a rundown community center, wedged between two aging apartment buildings. Ava knelt beside an old van, carefully wrapping frostbitten fingers belonging to a homeless veteran. She wore scrubs, a beanie, and a badge that simply read, "Nurse Ava." A black SUV stopped a block away. No press, no cameras. Trump approached with 2 agents. Ava looked up confused. "You're early," she said automatically. Trump smiled faintly. "I figured you might change your mind." She blinked. "Sergeant Cole asked you to come?" "He did." She softened. "I owe him more than I'll ever repay." They sat on a cracked concrete bench, cold air curling around them. "Why do you do this?" Trump asked. Ava stared down the alley. "Because people forget that service doesn't end when the uniform comes off." She paused. "My brother came home, but he wasn't the same. Nobody noticed. Not until it was too late." Trump said nothing. "It's not about medals," she added. It's about being seen. That sentence stayed with him. Tell me about the day you saved Nathan. Trump said, I don't want the heroic version. I want the real one. Ava hesitated. Gunfire everywhere, she said quietly. I hit the ground. Then I saw him, bleeding bad. No one could reach him. She swallowed. I didn't think. I just ran. Trump leaned closer. I remember getting hit, she continued. But I couldn't stop. He kept whispering, don't leave me. Her voice cracked. So I didn't. Silence settled between them. Finally, Trump said, that's more courage than I've seen in most decorated officers. Ava shook her head. I'm just a nurse. Trump thought, not anymore. That night, Trump canceled a fundraiser. He reread Ava's file. A civilian. No duty. No protection. No reward. Yet she ran toward the fire. He picked up the phone. She's coming to the White House tomorrow, he told staff. Quietly. No press. Ava arrived in jeans and a black sweater. Trump greeted her himself. He led her into a small conference room. Several top military leaders sat waiting, confused. This, Trump said, is Ava Sinclair. She saved an American hero, and she's been serving veterans in silence ever since. Ava looked down, uncomfortable. She's not here for applause, Trump continued. She's here to remind us who we forget. One general stood. He saluted, then another, then another. Ava's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years, she felt seen. Back at Walter Reed, Nathan watched a brief, blurry news clip on TV. He smiled because he knew some heroes don't wear uniforms, and some stories don't end on a battlefield. They begin there. The headline was small. President meets unknown civilian medic. No names, no speeches, no fanfare. But Nathan Cole recognized the figure instantly. Ava, he whispered. A weak smile tugged at his lips. His nurse stepped in. You okay, Sergeant? Nathan nodded. I think something good is finally happening. He never wanted attention. He never wanted sympathy. He wanted the truth to be seen. And Ava was the truth. The next morning, Ava found a handwritten letter waiting at the clinic. The handwriting was shaky but deliberate. My name is Frank. I'm 74. Vietnam veteran. Years ago, my grandson came home broken. You were the trauma nurse who sat beside him every night. You didn't just heal his body. You gave him the will to live. Thank you. Ava pressed the paper to her chest and wept. For years she had moved from place to place, always wondering if any of it mattered. Now she knew it did. Behind closed doors, something else was quietly taking shape. President Trump began pushing a recognition initiative. Not a press stunt, not a campaign slogan. A bill, one designed to honor civilians who serve in war zones. Nurses, medics, aid workers, volunteers. He called it the AVA Act, Acknowledgement of Volunteer Action. These people serve without armor, Trump told lawmakers, without rank, without protection, and we leave them out of history. He didn't seek credit, but momentum grew. One evening, Ava's phone rang. Nate, she said. His voice was weak, but smiling. You did it, Ava. You got their attention. She shook her head. No, you did. You spoke up. He paused. You know what really kept me alive that day? The med kit, she guessed. No, he said softly. Your voice. You kept talking. You told me I mattered. Tears filled her eyes. And now, he added, the world knows you do. Weeks later, Ava sat before a congressional panel. Cameras flashed. Senators whispered. They asked about the ambush, about Nathan, about the veteran she treated afterward. She didn't dramatize. She didn't beg. She simply told the truth. When she finished, the room was silent. One senator stood. Miss Sinclair, thank you for reminding us what service truly looks like. At twilight in the Rose Garden, Trump met Ava privately. No cameras. He held a small, unmarked medal. This isn't from the Pentagon, he said. It's from me. He pinned it gently to her coat. For courage that had no obligation. For service that had no duty. For saving not just one life, but many. Ava couldn't speak. She hugged him. He didn't pull away. Months later, Congress passed the AVA Act, bipartisan, overwhelming. For the first time in U.S. history, civilians who risked their lives in conflict zones became eligible for official recognition and support. Trump didn't hold a press conference. He sent Ava a simple card. You changed the world quietly. That's the loudest way. Inspired donors funded a trauma training school in Wyoming. They named it the Ava Sinclair Center for Courageous Care. When Ava visited, students crowded around her. You're the reason I became a nurse, one girl whispered. Ava hugged her. And you're the reason I keep going. Back in D.C., Nathan Cole took his first steps on a prosthetic leg. Ava stood beside him. He winced, then laughed. This is harder than getting shot. Ava smirked. Good thing I saved you then. Later he whispered, Thank you for making the world see. She shook her head. No, Nathan, you made them listen. Before leaving office, Trump made one final visit to Walter Reed. Room 309 was empty, but a photo hung on the wall. Nathan and Ava, standing outside the White House. Trump placed a small note on the bedside table. Sometimes the greatest leaders never hold power. They just hold hearts. 10 years later, a classroom watched a short documentary titled, The Nurse Who Changed a Nation. The teacher asked, What did she teach us? A young boy raised his hand. That you don't have to be famous to make a difference. One spring morning, Ava visited her brother's grave. She laid down a single rose. You were the reason I started, she whispered. Behind her, flowers bloomed, the same kind planted around the Ava Center. She felt peace. It all began with one wounded soldier, one request, one woman who never wanted to be seen, but deserved to be. Years later, in an interview, Trump was asked, What moment changed you the most? He smiled. There was a soldier who made one request, he said. He asked me to meet a nurse. He paused. And I couldn't say no.